I got him elected, pure and simple. He would have never, if I said I wasn't going to endorse you, and I was close, there was no reason to go wild about endorsing him. So, now I hear he might want to run against me. So we'll handle that the way I handle things.
We'll handle that the way I handle things. And according to sources behind the scenes, he has a pretty good idea of how that's going to be. In their words, he's going to, can I say this, Brett? I can say it, right? Yeah, I can say it. I don't think he's gonna kick him in the nuts. Now that is a very Trumpian way to put it. And I have no doubt that there will be some rhetorical nut kicks coming. But I have to say, the information that his team is either leaking or intentionally putting out about the research they're doing and the kicks they're lining up for, for Ron DeSantis's panhandle is, I don't think it's as strong as they think it is. So I want to lay out some of the avenues of attack they're going to use, and then Brett and I are going to debate: are these actual nut kicks or not? So jumping ahead, he says Trump has talked to political allies about effective ways to pummel DeSantis on both personal issues, recurring concerns about his likability, and supposed charisma deficit. It's nice of the Rolling Stone to put supposed there, and policy matters. So there's personal, there's also policy, like DeSantis's hawkish foreign policy, trade stances, and COVID-19 posturing. So I want to start there because we have some more specific stuff we're going to get to. But first, he's not likable enough, and he doesn't have enough charisma. So I don't think that he's likable, but the right seems to like him, and generally, especially on the right, the likability thing is, I think, only successful when it's being used to bury literally any female politician. But also because they love that. But the charisma deficit, is that gonna matter? Trump has, from their point of view, charisma. Ron DeSantis is not as compelling of a speaker, but when he speaks, he uses the time to attack the sort of people that they want to have attacked. So does it matter that he doesn't have as much charisma? Brett, what do you think?
I mean, Ron DeSantis does not have anywhere near as much charisma as Donald Trump. So that's a weird concept, charisma. Like, yes, in ET, he goes zero charisma, and it's like this awesome bag that you don't understand when you watch it in 1980, whatever. And then you have to, when you grow up, you have to look up what charisma means.
Well, I played Dungeons and Dragons, so I know. But anyway,
so likability, however, is something that Donald Trump also struggles wildly at. So most people would say, let's not attack him at something I'm weak at. That's kind of Donald Trump's go-to, is to say that I'm so strong while complaining something's unfair and I totally lost it. He's gonna do it in a Donald Trump way. The question is, how much of Donald Trump's mojo is still working?
Yeah.
So is he able to carry that off? Back in the day when he did his first round of debates in the first primaries when he was running in 2016, he just wiped the floor with all of those zero charisma D-bags. It was very obvious. And I think he could have done the same had Ron DeSantis been up there. Who knows? But I think a lot of this is absolutely, in my analysis, leaked intentionally by the Trump campaign to try to scare Ron DeSantis away. But yes, Ron DeSantis is a lot smarter than Donald Trump tactically, for sure, as evidenced by the stuff that Trump admitted to. It's like, I didn't have to endorse this guy, but I found myself endorsing him. And he leaned into me when it was convenient, and he's gonna lean away from me when it's not convenient for him to stay under Donald Trump's wing. And so that's obviously the political calculation, but they have to make the moves to see just how strong each one is.
Yeah. If the plan is to scare him away, I mean, that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this, is that I don't know that this is particularly scary. Of all the things he's gonna attack him on, you're not likable enough and you don't have charisma. Well, I mean, people are gonna decide that in any election. Specifically attacking him for his hawkish foreign policy, maybe. It doesn't really strike me that DeSantis focuses particularly much on foreign policy, and why would he? He's the governor of Florida, but maybe he will as a presidential candidate. His trade stances, I have never heard him talk about trade. Maybe he does. His COVID-19 posturing, I find it to be annoying and terrible because it resulted in thousands and thousands of needless deaths. But the right has already shown that they love it. So I don't get how that's gonna work. He has one other attack though, specifically He's going to go after DeSantis for his stance on Social Security. So according to a campaign source, in a Republican primary, only Donald Trump could effectively go after DeSantis for wanting to cut Social Security. Trump has a track record of saying the right things on this issue, both in the general election and to Republican voters in a primary. DeSantis' record in the House on this topic is very much of the Paul Ryan privatized Social Security platform, which is just not where our voters are now. I think it is true that Donald Trump has been able to pretend to have positions on some of these big things that in the end he doesn't end up having. And I just wonder how much it's going to matter, because the Republicans in the House seem perfectly comfortable attacking Social Security. They don't think that it's going to hurt them too much politically. So if it's just Trump and DeSantis on the debate stage, and Trump is attacking him, saying he's going to cut Social Security, I like centering Social Security and other programs like that in a debate, but is that going to be the sort of thing that breaks through?
Ron DeSantis is a classic old school Republican Party coalition builder, and he's building the coalition in the exact same way that Paul Ryan would have sought to if he was not so like horrifyingly sterile, which is the dirty politics of, all right, I'm gonna do the culture war that says the left wing is depraved and hates God and children, all these lies. But really the bread and butter, when it comes down to it, he's a policy wonk who really wants to put Ayn Rand's playbook in the works for the United States of America. And Donald Trump, and so as much as you say like they're fine doing that, the Republican Party seemed fine wanting to privatize Social Security back in the day. Yeah, that iteration of the Republican Party lost to Donald Trump for all the reasons folks who understand fundamentals of politics understand, and policy analysts and people who only work in the like hateful Twitter feeds of online discourse forget, which is don't touch Social Security. It's the third rail of politics for a reason. Donald Trump understood that was the one like very healthy like vein of politics that does feed people's like actual interests, is protecting Social Security. Even if he doesn't articulate it that way, at least he hasn't attacked it and wanted to privatize it like Republicans have in the past. At least Steve Bannon was like, stay away from stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's what he's gonna just try to do. I mean, it really is this next run, if it's DeSantis versus Trump, it's the establishment Republicans wondering if they've filled the bag of sand perfectly enough to switch it in for the idol of Donald Trump. That's what it is. But Donald Trump is a one of a kind Raiders of the Lost Ark idol, and they're trying to replace it with a bag of sand that is Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
And they wonder if any number of stupid anti-trans culture wars are going to fool the populace the way that Donald Trump has so naturally been able to fool them.
I think it is, if it comes down to anything, and the interesting thing about if we have these debates is that I don't know that Trump is as good one-on-one in debates as he is when he has 6 people to attack. But I think it's going to come down to, can Ron DeSantis attack other people enough to withstand, in terms of people's perception of him, the attacks that will be coming at him from Trump? He'll attack Trump, sure, but Trump is going to attack him brutally. Trump is going to, I mean, I don't even want to try to predict the things he's going to say about Ron DeSantis. And Ron DeSantis is going to viciously attack trans people, the LGBTQ community, teachers, all that, endlessly. And Trump is going to try to keep up. So it's going to be a really ugly race. But I think the idea that they're just going to have 4 debates where they go toe to toe on trade policy and Social Security just seems so ridiculous. What does that have to do with anything of the appeal that they're going to try to make to the base? Anyway, but we will continue to talk about this going forward, because Trump is saying that he's going to gear up his rallies more in the coming months.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.